What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. This video is for my 1-bar two-handed Warden, which is called the Ancient Warden. It's got 40k health and over 40k penetration. It's got super strong healing and it's also quite high pressure as well. So let's jump straight into the gear. So the first set we are running is the Plague Slinger set, which will give you a line of weapon and spell damage, a line of health, another line of weapon and spell damage, and when you take damage, you will summon a Skeever Corpse, which will launch 5 poison balls at your enemy. They're undodgeable as well, so they will just follow the enemy. And it deals quite a lot of poison damage, adds a lot of pressure, and it scales off your weapon and spell damage. So we've got a Plague Slinger Maul sharpened with a weapon damage enchantment. The next set we are running is the Grace of Gloom set. So it adds a line of health, adds another line of healing taken, and then one more line of health. And when you take damage, you become a living shadow for 10 seconds, causing you to heal every 2 seconds, and you also gain major evasion, reducing your damage taken from area attacks. This scales off your max health, so that's why we're stacking into that max health. So both sets we are running are when you take damage. So when you take damage, the Plague Slinger is going to activate, and when you take damage, the Grace of Gloom is also going to activate. So you're going to be dealing damage and healing yourself at the same time. So we've got a heavy helm of Grace of Gloom, impenetrable with max health. We've got a Cuirass of the Trainee, infused with max health enchantment. This will just give you a line of health. We've got Gloom Graced Pauldron Shoulders in heavy, impenetrable, max health. The waist is Gloom Graced as well, impenetrable, max health. Gloom Graced Gauntlets, reinforced, max health. The legs are Gloom Graced Greaves, heavy, divines, max health. And the feet are medium Plague Slinger, divines, with max stamina. The jewellery is 2 Plague Slingers in robust, with weapon damage enchantment, and the Oaken Soul Ring in healthy with weapon damage enchantment. So we're running 6 heavy and 1 medium. Ideally, I would recommend the traits to be on the heavy pieces reinforced and the smaller pieces impenetrable, and ideally tri-stat all of this if you can, as it will make the stats a lot better. But yeah, that's the setup of the gear. Ideally make the jewellery yellow if you can, and just the weapon. Don't worry about the armour itself, purple's fine. We'll go into the skills. So Deep Fissure, which is going to give you, it's going to deal magic damage, and it's also going to give you major and minor breach. One of the best skills in the entire game, is it's giving you 2 debuffs in 1 hit, so that's almost 10k penetration just by hitting this. You've got Wrecking Blow, which is going to give you major berserk, so it's going to increase your damage done. Executioner, just to this is just your execute just to kill enemies when they're on low health. We've got Resolving Vigor, just for a heal over time and minor resolve. And your Polar Wind, which is your super strong heal, which also scales off max health, hence why we've got really high health. And Onslaught, which is going to deal a damaging blow to your enemies, dealing a ton of physical damage, and it's also going to grant you that super high penetration to cut through your enemies. So make sure you have all your skill points in your 3 class lines, all your passives in two-handed, all your passives in medium and heavy, all your passives in vampire, ideally be stage 3 for the undeaf, all your passives in undaunted, all your passives in assault and support, and I'm a high elf for extra damage, so have all your passives in your racial, and also have all your passives in medicinal use to make your potions last a bit longer. Champion points, we've got Fighting Finesse for some critical damage, Deadly Aim for more damage done single target, Wrathful Strikes to increase your weapon and spell damage to your damaging abilities, and Resilience just for some critical resistance. The red CP is Pain's Refuge just to reduce your damage taken, Rejuvenation for some recovery, Fortify for some armour, and Boundless Vitality. I'm missing 2 points there, let's quickly put those in. Just for some extra health. The green, Steed's Blessing for just some movement, I'd recommend, and Liquid Efficiency just to reduce the potions you're using. So let's look at the stats. The Mundus is the Warrior, and again remember be stage 3 for the Undeath passive. So that is your stats completely flat. So let's just buff up a little bit. So you've got 40k health, you've got 1500 magic and stamina recovery. Your resistances are at 28k, which is very nice. The critical resistance is around 2.4k. But again, like I said, if you have the traits correct, you could probably have the critical resistance around 2.7k, probably a little bit higher. The critical damage isn't too bad either on Wardens because the passives they grant. So we've got about 74% critical damage, which is very nice. The weapon and spell damage will go up to about 5.5–6k with continuous. The spell critical, I'll just check that. I don't think it goes any higher than that. Yeah, 24%, so it's a little bit low. You won't be super critting all the time. But again, you'll just be applying lots of pressure with the Plague Slinger. Let's just show you the penetration. So you've got 32k physical penetration plus the 9 from the minor and major breach. So you're looking at about 41k penetration. So you're going to cut through enemies very, very powerfully. It's going to make that Plague Slinger put a lot of pressure on them. So how to play the build. Really you just want to buff up with your Vigour and Polar Wind. Just get your heals going. And then just drop your Assault, Subterranean Assault into a Wrecking Blow. And just keep the pressure on. You won't see the other sets activate as is when you both take damage. So when you take damage, the Plague Slinger will activate and put pressure on the enemy. And your also Grace of Gloom is going to keep healing you as well when you take damage. So you've got your strong Polar Wind, which scales off max health. And you've also got the Grace of Gloom set, which scales off max health. So you're going to get an absolute ton of healing. You're going to be super tanky. And people are just going to think you're a heal bot, but they're going to be surprised, obviously, when your ultimate is ready. That is when the time is to attack and drop the Subterranean Assault into the ultimate, and then just keep Wrecking Blow away and until they're in low health, and then just hit them with the Executioner. So just show it one more time. So buff up, drop the Subterranean Assault into the Executioner, time it correctly, Wrecking Blow with some light attacks. Just put that pressure on, and then just Executioner when they're on low health. So it's a very, very strong build, very, very tanky. You can certainly take a lot of damage and put some pressure back on enemies as well. Really, really fun build. I love the Ancient Warden. Nice and simple to play. Very, very strong. And both the sets proc without you doing anything. They only proc when someone's attacking you, which is obviously going to be all the time in a PvP setting. So the sets will just be proccing like crazy, and you don't have to do anything apart from just play, you know, just play the build, and they will just activate automatically. So yep, that's the end of the build section, guys. Stick with me for the video clips. Drop this video a like if you enjoy the build. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and any comments, drop them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you, and I'll see you in the next video.